And we should be good. I have a list of questions that I prepared. Just off the bat, do you remember how you were brought on to the game?
Yes, I do. So when I was in college, I went to a game developers conference. There I met this gentleman by the name of Damian Kastbauer. I had overheard him having a conversation about chiptune music, and I kind of butted into the conversation because I was like, hey, I know about that. And we ended up chatting for a bit, and I gave him my business card, and he helped me out and gave me one of my first breaks in the game industry. And I did some work for this company, Bay Area Sound. But they were working on a bunch of different stuff at the time. I did some work with them for Telltale Games.
Nice.
But this was the first project that we worked on together. And so they had a handful of people doing music for it, and I got to participate.
Now, this was a game developed by Planet Moon Studios, and according to some of the other devs that I've talked to, like the last 6 months of development were all crunch period. Did that impact you or affect your working on this game at all?
No, it was weird because so this was pretty early in my career and one of my first experiences working with the studio, but I was completely remote. You know, the audio, I guess, was contracted to a third party, and I was contracted to that third party. It's like a subcontract, I guess. And I didn't really have I had very limited contact, if any, with the developer. And I was getting, I think, screenshots, maybe a little bit of footage. And I was just writing to that, and then I was submitting tracks. So I was about as removed from the development of that game as you could possibly be. And actually, there were some things that happened on that project that actually helped me realize that I needed to be more involved. So one of the things that happened is that I wrote music for, I think one of the early levels in the game, and also for the map, for like the world map, and those two got swapped in the implementation. Yep. I didn't find out until the game came out. So that was enlightening. So I had to go buy the game just like physically to actually see how it turned out, basically.
Nice. That was going to be one of my later questions, if you knew why those tracks got swapped, but that answers that question.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know if someone like creatively said, "Oh, we should put this here," or if it was just a mix-up. It could have been worse. As far as like mixing up tracks, it could have been something really egregious, but it doesn't bother me that much at this point.
So, on your Bandcamp, you have 6 songs listed. Are those the only 6 you worked on for this game, or did you work on more? Okay.
I believe those are the only 6. I actually lost the sessions for a couple of them.
Oh.
So some of those were like MP3 files that I think I found in my email or something. Glad that I have something. I'm pretty sure those are the only tracks that I worked on, and they were assigned to me, if I recall correctly.
Oh, really?
By Bay Area Sound. Yeah, I think they had a couple of composers working on the project, and I think they assigned the tracks as far as like who would work on what. So
according to the credits, there were 4 composers total. Dave Levison, Chris Remo, and Bill Storkson were the other 3.
Oh, Chris Remo worked on Drawn to Life too? I didn't even know that.
I'm sure you know that there was also DS releases for Drawn to Life.
Yeah,
and
for sure. I played some of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and David J. Franco, he was the composer for both of those games. And they share a lot of motifs in their music. The Wii game has completely new motifs, melodies. Like, there's nothing in common musically with the DS games. Do you know why that is? Or was that just or were you just told to compose what you wanted to compose?
Yeah, I mean, I was like a little because I wasn't really like directing the music. I was a little bit removed from all of that. I don't think there was any I don't think I was given any direction as far as like using motifs.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was more loose than that. Okay, so here you go. We were we were given MP3 samples from the DS version as a style and feel reference. They didn't want it to sound too kiddie. That's apparently.
Yeah.
Make the drums cool.
With the tracks that you made, what was
Yeah.
your thought process like from start to finish while you were making?
I honestly think that I was looking at I was kind of looking at the visuals and probably listening to the style references to get a general sense of what I wanted it to be. You know, it kind of had like a casual game kind of vibe. But I tried to infuse a little bit of my own, you know, sensibility into it. I don't think there was a lot of thought. I think it was one of those projects where it seemed fairly straightforward. I knew I wanted to have like I'm remembering now the cool drums thing. So there was definitely some like, you know, contemporary electronic-ish drums in there in different tracks. But then kind of paired with, you know, some orchestral stuff or some of the more serious like cutscene kind of music, and then more like casual kind of music with like pizzicato strings and like, you know, like glockenspiel and stuff like that, which was kind of like circa that time period. That was kind of like very, very prevalent in commercial music and in casual games too. So I think that's kind of like, the origin of a lot of that stuff. But then, you know, I also kind of brought in some of my own influences. I remember now that one of the tracks, Raposa Village, I think, has a piano part in it that I had written previously, and I don't think I had written it for the game. And
oh, really?
I remember, yeah, it was just like a sketch, and I believe that it was kind of inspired by George Winston, which was like a new age piano player that my parents listened to, and I liked too. So that was like I guess one of the influences that kind of seeped into the score a little bit.
You also composed the final boss theme. In the intro to that piece has a really wonky time signature. Like, it's really difficult to count. Do you remember what your process was for that specific track against the final boss?
I think I was kind of referencing a lot of Japanese RPGs that tend to have very mathy, almost like prog metal inspired boss music with lots of odd time signatures. To me, I think I probably felt more freedom to kind of experiment and do weird things because there's like a naturally unsettling quality to having lots of time signature changes, and kind of it makes you feel a little bit lost. The harmony too of that, I remember that intro is kind of like all over the place. It's very dissonant. But then there's kind of like a B section that's more like within the sound world of the game. It's more like melodic and stuff. And then, you know, having more like rock kind of drums with the orchestral elements was just kind of a way to combine, I guess, the cutscene like narrative style for the game musically with something a little more in your face for a boss track, like using those like bigger drums and stuff. Yeah, I think that's kind of where I was coming from with that.
Now I kind of want to shift gears a little bit and talk about some of the cut content from the game. In the game design document, it says that there were plans for dynamic music. Where like if you were underwater, stuff would change, stuff like that. Did you have any like indication of that at all when you were told what to compose?
I don't have any recollection. So it's possible that that idea had already been nixed when I got brought on board. Yeah, I have no idea, but that would have been different for sure.
Yeah. And then, one last question that I have would be, are you willing to share any of the maybe beta versions of the tracks, maybe some of the screenshots that you were sent of the early versions of the game? Or is there something with like Planet Moon or 505 keeping you from doing that?
I'd have to check if there's some sort of kind of NDA or something. I would assume that it would I'd have to check and see because I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I'd have to go look and see like if I have any assets. I think I probably do have some stuff. I can go take a look and see.
Thank you. Well, those are all the questions I really had.